I brought the various material that I detailed out in my letter to the board members about statements that were made by Ms. Esch Olson, Martha Esch, at the last meeting. I found them very, very disturbing. Revisionist history, exclusionary, fabrication, these would be apt words to counter the likes of like Donald Trump. But they also are the key words to repeat back to Ms. Esch. You know, I once saw a cartoon that said the earth was flat and that the moon was made of green cheese. Just because I saw it doesn't make it so. The facts speak for themselves. This was a Chinese town. There was no town here before 1915. It was called Locke in 1820. And in the 1930s, there were 600 residents here, almost all of whom were Chinese. These are the facts. They're provable by the newspapers of the time, the maps, the eyewitness accounts, and the expert scholarly research that was done. If Martha would have just read my book, Bitter Melon, it was all there. My book was vetted by the University of Washington Asian Studies Department. The introduction was written by Su Chung Chan, who is one of the foremost scholars for the Asian experience, particularly the Chinese experience here in America. Does she dispute this person, this scholar's research in her core writings about Locke? Global village? This is hogwash. This is just the height of stupidity. All the information to counter all these claims are there in black and white. All she had to do was read and do some research. But she chose not to. Again, she thinks that the earth is flat and the moon is made of green cheese. So I say, shame on her, shame on her, shame on her. For what she says is offensive to the memories of the people who lived here in Locke. Does she not know about the Exclusion Act, the Alien Land Act, the driving out, the lynchings, the murders, the beatings for just being Chinese? All the things that she enjoys, being able to choose her occupation, being able to choose where she lives, being able to buy a piece of property, choose who she wants to marry, feel safe in a community. That was denied the very people who lived here anytime they left here. But this was their town. They felt safe here. So again, shame on her. And shame on you too, Gene. You sat there and in your video, you said this was a history lesson. You gave her credibility, and that's shameful. So, let me say to Ms. Esch, you are the one who is revising history. You are the one who is being exclusionary. And you are doing the fabrication. Now, anyone, you would think, any sane person, who once they realize the earth is not flat, it's been proven to them, and the moon is not made of cheese, they would come back and say, you know, I'm really sorry, I got my facts wrong. And I really hope that at some point, Ms. Esch comes before this board and says, I'm sorry, this was never a global village. That's my public comment. Thank you very
much. This wording that you are proposing for the commemorative bronze plaque, will it be, or perhaps something permanent looking?
Yeah.
I find the wording in the first sentence to be revisionist history, exclusionary, and fabricated that this town was built and inhabited almost exclusively by one race. According to the 1930 census of Locke, 23 countries of origin lived here in 1930, not very recently ago. And there were more Russians and Spaniards listed than any other foreign entity. I believe that it's a big mistake to eliminate all other races and national ancestries and origins of Locke in the telling of the history of Locke.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
Also, your second paragraph says that prior to 1915, Locke consisted of 4 buildings and was known as Lockport. The name was later shortened to Locke. That was shortened in the mid-1920s. The original mention of Lockport is, or the oldest known published mention of the town of Lockport is in an 1895 publication from San Francisco, the San Francisco Call newspaper. You can look it up on the web, you can find it, it's in a PDF. Also another mention of Lockport, California was in 1896. So the town, I'm puzzled by the wording founding on your signage outside that says that the town was founded in 1915. I believe the town is at least 20 years older. Also, in this second paragraph, you've got Locke flourished and at one time supported a permanent population of 600 residents. From what source did you get that 600 residents?
Martha, I didn't compose this.
Okay,
I
who
will
did?
take your comments. I already said J. Stewart and Alfred D. who hold a PhD.
Okay.
in
I'd like to
Chinese
know
American
what
history.
sources, because I've never found any census records that say more than 410 people living here,
Okay.
of
Thank you,
whom
Martha.
39 folks of the 410 were born in China in 1930.
Thank you. We need to move on. I've noted your comments.
I just hope that you include everyone and not just one ancestry of peoples, because this is a global village and always has been. Always has been.